Please be seated. This is simply a glorious day, and I'd like to welcome family and friends, my faculty and staff colleagues, Regent Bob Downer, President Sally Mason, Justice Mark Cady, and the class of 2010. Welcome. I am very proud of this class. You've come to the point of graduation during a great recession. It's been challenging for you, and I think I've never seen a group that has been quite indomitable in spirit, quite willing to keep forging ahead, and I know that will serve you well going forward. And the atmosphere in which you're graduating is full of change and challenge and opportunities for some real rewards and positive changes in the legal profession. But one of my favorite passages is from Sandy Boyd, from our faculty, and from a graduation address he gave in 1982. He wrote, "Fortunately, we live in an imperfect world because we can improve it. Fortunately, we live in a diverse world because we can learn from it. Fortunately, we live in a changing world because we can grow in it. I have no doubt that you will improve the world, you will learn from it, and you will grow in it." And we look forward to seeing that. Our first speaker this afternoon is the selection of his classmates. Joshua Strim was chosen by the class of 2010 to represent them and to present some remarks. And I think that Joshua's well loved by his classmates, and I look forward to his address this afternoon. Joshua?
Thank you, Dean Jones. Classmates, friends and family, administration and staff, distinguished professors, and Professor Kurtz. I worked for Professor Kurtz for 2 years as his RA. He provided me with 2 years of gainful employment. He wanted me to make sure to tell you that the employment was more gainful for me than it was for him. Thank you, Professor Kurtz. Thank you all for coming to my speech today. I understand attendance was so great they had to offer carryover seating in the Bayou Theater, so welcome to all of you there. You'll be glad to know that my speech is only 9 minutes long. It has 2 parts. First, I'll share a few reflections on the past, and then I'll end with a few actually sincere remarks. Before law school, you read 1L and watch the paper chase. You learn about the Socratic method, an often cruel and irrational way of educating students, whereby it seems the teacher doesn't teach, but rather the student learns, one question followed by another, until a formerly intelligent and articulate student is reduced to a bumbling fool. To make certain no student escapes first semester with a false sense of pride or intelligence, the faculty uses a seating chart to keep track of the casualties, and no one escapes alive. And so it goes. You spend the first part of first semester learning to distinguish relevant from irrelevant facts, and learning new ways to pronounce ordinary words. Then sometime around Thanksgiving, you start outlining. You form large, unproductive study groups You take practice exams. And finally, on a cold and snowy afternoon in December, you sit in a large room racing against the clock to finish a 10-hour exam in the 3 hours the professor gave you. You pray that your computer doesn't blow up, a prayer that goes unanswered for at least one student every semester. And you try not to be intimidated by the stack of thoroughly tabbed supplements sitting next to the student next to you. After the exam, you walk to the parking lot along with several other broken souls and that guy. That guy says the exam was easy. He mentions 7 issues on the last essay question alone that you never even thought of. He even had enough time, he says, to make policy arguments in favor of an entirely new legal doctrine. And lest the professor be unclear about how to grade his novel argument, that guy dropped a footnote suggesting a point value for his analysis. At this point, you ponder whether a simple assault and battery charge during your first semester of law school would really be enough to keep you from taking the bar in 2 years. You have more or less the same experience with 2 other final exams, and then you drive or fly back to wherever it is you call home. Once there, you walk through the front door, drop your bags, and walk straight past your mother's open arms to the nearest computer to check ISIS for your grade. And then you check ISIS every 47 seconds thereafter. Each time you hold your hand over the screen to shield your eyes from any grades. This is not something you jump into. For a week there is nothing. But then, lest you have an enjoyable Christmas, the first grade of law school is posted, and it is a 3.1 in Property 1. You're laughing. For those who don't know, and for those who have intentionally forgotten, the average grade in law school is a 3.3. Yes. So, for the first 27 years of your short life, you were above average. And now, after only 4 short months in law school, you're below average. You're having trouble breathing. There must have been a mistake. You bought and read Professor Kurtz's case book, his green book, his horn book, his black letter law outline, and his lunch. For $1.57, of course, Dean Jones. Yeah. And every night before you fell asleep, you sang a little song that he taught you that began, contingent remainder, contingent remainder. My Sheldon, why hast thou forsaken me? Eventually, the rest of your grades trickle in, and they suggest that your Property 1 grade was not a mistake. But you're home on winter break and life moves on. After Christmas dinner, your cousin runs a few legal questions past you. Being the only person in your family with any experience on this side of the law, your 1 semester of legal education becomes a family resource. Just like the aunt who cuts hair, the uncle who repairs cars, and the grandmother who knits sweaters. Undeterred by your law school advice, your law school performance, you give legal advice freely and with authority. And just like those free haircuts and homemade sweaters, your legal advice is worth precisely what you are paid for it. But eventually, winter break ends, and it's back to law school, where the conversations inevitably turn to grades, especially if Liz Vobble is in that conversation. Much to your chagrin, at least 30% of your classmates are also in the top 10% of the class. Yeah. Right. Yeah. The first liar in law school doesn't have a chance. Second semester is a lot like first semester, and before you know it, on a nice spring day in May, You walk out of the last final exam of your first year of law school, and what do you find in the hallway? Candy canes and lollipops? An ice cream social, perhaps? No, the first and last ice cream social you'll have in law school is during orientation week, when your tuition is still refundable. No, instead, you are met by evil troglodytes, also known as journal board members, offering you one more opportunity to compete with your classmates. And the competition is worth it, for writing on a journal is perhaps the most transformative experience in law school. It's true. For example, the very student who just 3 months earlier could not remember the elements of murder on her criminal law final exam now writes a 40-page note explaining how this Iowa Supreme Court simply doesn't understand the felony murder doctrine. Simply amazing. From this point, our law school careers diverge, and any attempt to generalize would be futile. But no matter our law school experience, whether it was a soul-crushing exercise in humility or a 3-year confirmation of our brilliance, we come full circle and we end just as we began, excited by the possibilities that lie ahead. I close my speech today with the story of Sisyphus, a character from Greek mythology, who was condemned to the eternal task of rolling a large stone to the top of a hill from which it always rolled down again. Now, this might sound unimaginable, but we graduates have a lot in common with poor old Sisyphus. For example, we climbed to the top of our class in high school to start as lowly freshmen at good colleges, and then we climbed to the top of our class in college, only to start as scared 1Ls in law school. And then we climbed to the middle of our class in law school. Thank you, Shelley. And we stand here today at commencement with the heavy stone that is law school resting firmly on top of the hill of debt. But soon we will be back at the bottom, and our heavy lifting will begin anew. We have the bar exam in July. A few of us will have it again in February. Student loan payments begin in December, and in January of 2011, or of 2012, but certainly no later than 2020, we will be taking our first steps as young attorneys. But unlike Sisyphus, our work will not be in vain, for the law is a service industry. In each case, each client will present a new and different heavy stone to be rolled up the steep hill of justice. I came up with steep hill of justice myself. And as the truly wise among us know, a life spent serving people is not a life of vain toil, but a life of privilege. And we stand here today, recipients of one of this nation's best legal educations, well prepared to face the challenges of this privileged life of heavy lifting. And we have many people to thank for that. Moms and dads, thank you for giving us life and our moral compasses. Spouses, partners, significant others, thank you for loving us and supporting us, even when doing so couldn't have been easy. I'd like to thank my wife, Allison, for that line. Administration and staff, you often hear about our problems, but rarely our gratitude. So thank you for all of your hard work and for giving this institution its warmth. There was some other group I wanted to thank, but I can't remember. Oh well. I kid. And finally, thank you, professors, for pulling and stretching our minds into legal minds, an accomplishment made all the more remarkable given the fact that we had access to the internet during your classes. And so it is clear that as young attorneys, we will represent more than our clients and ourselves. We will represent all of these people, and surely others, who helped make our professional lives possible. And so when the burden of our profession weighs heavily on our shoulders, as at times it inevitably will, let us remember that to whom much is given, much is expected. Classmates, it has been an honor to speak on your behalf today, assuming that's what I've done. And one of the greatest privileges of my short life has been not only to graduate from law school, but to graduate from law school with all of you. Thank you.
This ceremony this afternoon has been largely shaped by the members of the class of 2010 and their graduation committee. And the class of 2010 has made an excellent choice of the individual to give the commencement address. I am very pleased to introduce Justice Mark Cady. And I have a special affection for Justice Cady, and I think there must be some process for honorary degrees, but I know that in the Law School of Heart of Hearts, Justice Cady is one of our law school community. He comes every fall as a part of Iowa Supreme Court Day, and is always a lively and very thoughtful presence when he comes in the fall. He's addressed our entering class on at least one occasion. And Justice Cady is a wonderful model of the profession that lies ahead of you. He earned both his undergraduate and law degrees from Drake University. He has been a district court judge, an Iowa Court of Appeals judge, and has been a member for 12 years of the Iowa Supreme Court. He's from Fort Dodge, and he is, again, incredibly thoughtful. He has written in the Cornell Journal of Law and Public Policy. He's written in the Drake Law Review, and he's the co-author of a book on Iowa practice. You've done a good job in the selection of your student speaker, and let's welcome your selection for the commencement address, Justice Mark Cady.
President Mason, Dean Jones, Mr. Downer, distinguished faculty, friends, guests, and those, of course, we recognize this afternoon, the class of 2010. I am pleased and honored to give the commencement address at the University of Iowa College of Law this afternoon. This is truly an outstanding law school, and the degree that you will receive this afternoon will open doors for you with yet untold opportunities ahead, and will for sure provide you with a running start to your promising careers and lives as lawyers. I graduated from law school just over 30 years ago. I actually recall little of the event, regrettably. I have no strong recollection of the content of the commencement address or even the person who presented it. I, of course, take some comfort from that lack of recognition this afternoon as a means, of course, to relieve the pressure from me to bestow some lasting and profound advice. I also consider that I operate in a world where it's rather liberating to know that my remarks will not be subjected to a critical dissent from a colleague, or that my remarks would be published in some legal journal for later review and scrutiny by lawyers and, worse yet, law professors. There are nevertheless two aspects of the practice of law, and in particular, a commencement exercise of this nature that I can never, ever forget. The first is the feeling of gratitude, accomplishment, and expectation, which I know that every one of the graduates possess at this moment. And secondly, that overwhelming sense of love and of pride and an admiration felt by those who have gathered here with the class of 2010 today. Your parents, your spouses, your family, your friends. Today is a celebration shared by all, but the significance of the moment most likely touches the deepest chord of emotion for your parents, who have strived over the years to teach you about life, only to discover from events like this that it's you that have taught them what life is really about. Now you need just do one more thing for them. Answer your cell phone when they call. Yeah. Today is as much about an end as it is a commencement. For most of you, your formal education, some 20 years, starting in kindergarten, has come to a close, and your legal career now begins. While the future is uncertain for all of us, your lives will most assuredly be enriched immeasurably by the devotion and the effort that you have put in over the last 3 years. Plato observed long ago that the law is unrivaled in its ability to improve the student. He was correct, and your law school experience is what he would have had in mind. Plato would have also contemplated the presence in your lives over the last 3 years of the extraordinary and devoted faculty that you have had access to, who have taught you the law and much more. Faculty who are stirred and affirmed by the possibilities of what you might accomplish in the future and contribute to tomorrow's story of justice. This great law school has allowed you to grow in an environment you'll never experience again, in ways you never imagined, and perhaps in ways that will not be fully realized for some time. You have studied your chosen profession, mastered content, learned the essential aspects of judgment, analysis, communication, creativity, and innovation. You have grown in relationships with one another and in the world around you. You have opened your mind to possibilities previously unknown. You have dreamed, and you have acquired vision, and you are ready to improve the profession and the practice your profession to improve the lives of others. When we conclude this ceremony this afternoon, you will no longer be an Iowa law student. Instead, you all begin anew, regardless of your achievements in law school, and with exactly the same amount of time each day and in each year. It is a true commencement or beginning. But only as lawyers, although you may be defined as what you will do from a lawyer from this point forward, you will still be a husband, a wife, a father, a mother, a son, a daughter, a friend, a partner, a community member. Continue to be that person as well, and find balance in your life in everything that you do each day. If you can, success will be yours. Let me turn your attention to my announced topic of my remarks: law, life, and luck. I'll start with law. It should come of no surprise that a Supreme Court justice speaking to a class of law school graduates would want to talk about the law. The law is uniquely reflective in our experience in life and reveals both our mistakes and our successes as a society. We can learn from both. As Roscoe Pound once wrote, law is experience applied continually to further experience. Many legal decisions record this experience and can help prepare us for the experience that lies ahead for all of us. A case I authored about a year ago is one such example. It is entitled Varnon versus Breen. The decision not only continues to tell the story of Iowa's long-standing commitment to equality, it tells a story for us on this occasion as well. First, when it comes to life, be open to change. And not just change for the sake of change itself, but change when the reasons for beliefs of today are no longer supported by today's understanding of the world around us. This is important because knowledge and understanding increases with each generation. Each generation must use this newly acquired knowledge to test the beliefs and the traditions that surfaced during those times when that knowledge was unavailable or was not fully developed. This examination is essential to ensure that the reasons for our beliefs remain valid. The process allows us to correct our past mistakes and shape a better future. It is what Alexis de Tocqueville observed in 1835 when he wrote, "The greatness of America is not that it is more enlightened than the rest of the world, but it has the ability to correct its mistakes." The Varnum decision exemplifies this ability, which is what our Constitution contemplated. Whether a belief involves equality, the environment, the legal system, or something very personal, we all have an obligation to use what we learn over time, collectively and individually, to correct our mistakes and give a greater meaning to justice. As was written in Varnum, times can blind us to certain truths that only later generations can come to see, that laws once necessary and proper serve in fact only to oppress. Your willingness to test these beliefs in all aspects of your life will make you a better lawyer, a better person, and help assure a better profession for a better society. The second lesson we can take from the Varnum case this afternoon as legal professionals is do not fear those times when your work as a lawyer may be unpopular. At these times, you may very well be performing your most important work. Remember, what is popular at a given time is not always right. Don't sweat the immediate response. Remember, too, that it was John Adams who stepped forward in 1775 to defend British soldiers charged with manslaughter for their actions in the Boston Massacre. A very unpopular, independent move, but we can all agree his life turned out okay. In Varnum, we likewise just did our job. We did our job as judges, and this is what led us to our unanimous decision. Leonard Hand once wrote that there are times when that old business about the importance of an independent and fearless judiciary means a great deal. Varnum was one such time. Judicial independence is what explains why court decisions throughout history can first be criticized, then later embraced as pivotal advancements. Societal change is a part of life, but it seems to emerge through human effort, not human nature. An independent judiciary allows that effort to be recognized, even at those times when human nature would urge the well-traveled path of complacency. If your time comes to work for an unpopular cause, display the convictions of your profession in the spirit of Adams and those who have followed him. The third point we can take from Varnum that relates to your professional careers is don't wait for your Varnum case to come along, that big case to come your way as a means to define and validate your career. If you do, you will risk being frustrated and disappointed because such an event may never happen. And waiting would only cause you to overlook the real success that you will achieve by what you will be doing each day to help people. And besides, any big case you may handle in the future will likely be out of your hands, which brings me to the role of luck in your futures. The opportunity for me to write the Varnum decision did not come my way because the Chief Justice or my colleagues thought that I was the best judge for the task, or because I had prepared myself for the moment back in law school or at some point in my career. I became the author of the decision by chance. We selected the author by simply drawing numbers from a box, and I drew the number assigned to the Varnum case. So take advantage of all opportunities you are given each day, even the seemingly small opportunities, because what often seems to be a distraction at times can actually be the pursuit of your greater goal and may actually reveal your real accomplishments and your real success. While my ballot box story about Varnum illustrates blind luck, there is one way for you to increase your odds, so to speak. And no, I'm not going to tell you a story about how I stuffed the ballot box, but I am going to tell you a story how you can stuff your ballot box by taking time along your way in pursuing your future to be true to the person you are today. Your reputation will follow you throughout life in big and small ways, both equally important. Let me illustrate by telling you a story that dates back to my second semester of my first year. A classmate with whom I was casually acquainted became ill and was unable to attend class for some time. When I heard of his misfortune, I stopped by his apartment a few times, which was not far out of the way from my apartment, to give him my lecture notes and to let him know what was going on in school. He eventually returned to class, but unfortunately he was not accepted back for his second year. His long absence was too much of a burden to overcome, and he had become an academic casualty. Life went on, and I did not hear much from him, and certainly never thought again about the few times I had stopped by to see him during his illness. 20 years ago, later from that point, I was nominated to the Iowa Supreme Court. The governor is charged with the responsibility to make the final selection from 3 candidates. Before making that selection, the governor meets with the nominees for a final interview. While I was driving from my home to the Capitol building to meet with the governor for my scheduled interview, a trip of about an hour and a half, my thoughts were intensely focused on finding a way to distinguish myself from the other nominees. Yet at the same time, the governor just happened to be attending an early morning breakfast with a group of business leaders in Des Moines, one of whom happened to be my former first-year classmate I just mentioned earlier. When my former classmate learned from the governor at the breakfast meeting that I was interviewing that morning, he pulled him aside to tell him what I had done 20 years ago, at a time, he said, when the other students were too absorbed in the pursuit of their ambitions, and how he had never forgotten my actions. When I walked into the governor's office for my interview that morning, I immediately felt a connection. The governor was quick to relay the story to me as told by my former classmate and emphasize to his staff and advisors in attendance of the virtue of my gesture during a time when it would have been easy to overlook it. 3 days later, the governor appointed me as the 102nd justice in the history of this state to serve on the Supreme Court. I don't know. Maybe I would have been appointed to the Supreme Court without the governor's encounter with my former classmate. But I can't help but think that this seemingly insignificant event 20 years later or earlier made all the difference for where I am today. And I can't help but think that if I had convinced myself that I didn't have time to stop by and see my classmate, that I would never have been in the position to sit on our state's highest court and have the opportunity to draw the Varnum case from the ballot box. Never pass an opportunity to do something for someone else in or outside of your profession, even if you think you are too busy pursuing your career to take the time. Doing this will not only help define you as a person, but you also will never know you might be stuffing your own ballot box. This story leads to my final piece of advice. Never forget the lessons you learned long before the first day that you walked through the doors of your law school. Those lessons that are responsible for getting you here today. These lessons will continue to serve you well as a lawyer. Let me briefly explain. One of my duties on the Supreme Court is to oversee both the admission in the practice of law in Iowa and the discipline of lawyers in Iowa. I have discovered much joy from my first capacity and look forward to seeing many of you again after you pass the bar exam. My second capacity brings me no such joy, but I have discovered something that might be helpful to new lawyers. Lawyers do not end up in trouble in our profession because they don't know the law or don't know how to apply the law. Less than 1% of all complaints involve the failure of a lawyer to know the law. Instead, the problems can be traced to the little things that are not necessarily unique to the legal profession, such as the failure to communicate, the failure to comply with deadlines, and the failure to properly calendar an event. Although the legal knowledge you have acquired and you'll continue to acquire gives you a solid foundation for success, those important small lessons of life that have brought you this far must be supplemented with your newfound legal knowledge. And with a little luck, it'll make all the difference in your success and happiness as a lawyer. Again, I extend my congratulations to each one of you. As Henry David Thoreau wrote, go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Search for love of your profession, love of others, and love of life. There is a comfort level out there for you to obtain with each, and it will provide you what you want and what we all want for you. The life you can imagine is the life that you can live. Enjoy all that there is. And oh, by the way, best of luck.
Well, now the magical time has come, and we have a ceremony that goes with the moment of conferral of the degrees. And as great and mighty as the School of Law is, it does not have the power to confer degrees. And for that purpose, we're very fortunate this afternoon to have the president of the University of Iowa, Sally Mason, with us.
This is what's known as a presidential perk. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, I hereby confer on each of you the degree of Juris Doctor or Masters of Law as designated. Congratulations. You made it.
Thank you, President Mason. I will now ask the law graduates to come forward individually to be introduced by, again, their choice, Professor John Mark Stensvag, and to be hooded by Professor Arthur Bonfield and Professor Todd Pettis.
Adam David Abelkop. Sadad Ali. Rebecca Allman. Ryan Anthony Anderson. Robert John Anthonson. Joseph Brett Austin. Robert James Baer. Amanda Joy Baena Arteaga. William Paul Brazel. Michael Lee Bartholomew. Kimberly Ann Barton. Alexandra Basic Russell. Andrew Benjamin. Nicholas Gordon Benson. Alan Fortino Best. Rita Nanda Bettis. Erica Michelle Bleiberg. Colin Richard Bachman. Cynthia Marie Boyle. Jonathan Marshall Bremen. Andrew William Briviesco. Christina Marie Brown. Megan Brianne Burns. Scott Joseph Burrell. Christy B. Canales. Mark Edward Carlin. Jeremy Allen Casper. Jerome Dennis Koenig-Taylor. Lauren Renee Cole. Alyssa Coria. Sean Charles Crowley. Kiri Nicole DeLaubenfels. Kristen Louise DePena. Megan Dimmitt. Nicole Danielle Driscoll. Emily Levon Droll. Ann Kelsey Edwards. Amanda Lauren Elkins. Jeffrey E. Elkins. Billy Marie Ellingson. Nada Elizabeth Erickson. Atana Asama. Thomas Cody Farns. Kelly Kristen Ferentz. Ammon Richard Fillmore. Tony Frank. Julie Leonu Freeman. Taryn Faye Frieders. Abby Chun Furlong. Brendan Patrick Gaffney. Nicholas James Gregory. Wei Hua. Ryan Lee Holland. Melanie Ann Hallis. Timothy Joseph Haskin. Spencer Carter Higgins. Katie Ann Lofka. Kevin Hohalter. Christopher Michael Holcomb. Matthew Robert Hoffman. Kirsten Lee Holzeder. Jesse Huang. Christine Michelle Huggins. Eugene Huang. Aaron Frank Jennings. Kaylee Ann Jensen. Jenna Karen Peterson Jensen. Eugene Jean. Laura Story Slopko Johnson. Nicole Christine Johnson. Paul James Justinson. Nicholas James Kane. Christopher Dalton Carlin. James Oliver Carney. Elizabeth Susan Kelly. Nicholas John Kilberg. Yeonjin Kim. John W. Kabrick. Nathan Theobald Crone. Nicholas Theodore Crone. Boyan Lazic. Tyler John Levengood. Brent Jacob Liebersbach. Abigail Christine Lynn. Peter Edward Lyons. Tyanda Michelle Mack. John Dean Magana. Timothy Michael Manning. Lindsay Christine McAfee. Jessica Ann Elizabeth McKinney. Reed Robert McManigal. Matthew Duarte Medeiros. Virginia Witherspoon Merritt. Jacob Edward Mush. David Eric Schultz Millender. Allison Marie Miller. Joseph Michael Miller. Monica R. Mims. Tiberius Daniel Mokanu. Daniel Robert Mosier. Tyler Blair Musselman. Peter Peruz Nadimi. Jacob Brian Natwick. Nicole Marie Nellison. Joshua William Newman. Samuel Patrick Nielsen. Erin Joanna Noteware. Gwendolyn Elizabeth Alney. Paige Lauralee Palkey. Jude Thaddeus Pennell. Rachel Noel Parr. Theodore J. Patton. Cassie Lee Peterson. Eric Nathan Peterson. Larry John Pettigrew. Erin Elizabeth Pettinger. Duval Andre Pierre. Oleg Polyatsky. Andrew Chase Potter. Matthew James Pryksack. Elizabeth Lord Prowell. Darcy Lewis Reinhardt. Brett Franklin Roberts. Thad Roach. Stacy Kathleen Rogers. James William Russell. Robert Howard Sand. Evan Lee Saiti. Ingrid Lisbeth Alexandra Sensor. Michael John Sarah. Leslie Ann Schaefer. Christopher G. Shaw. Kevin Daniel Sherlock. Daniel Joseph Sherrick. John Aaron Singer. Chad Michael Skarpiak. Anthony Raymond Sokolowski. Angelique Marie Stacy. Lauren Elizabeth Stepanek. Christian James Stickrod. Jason Gardner Stoddard. Rachel Renee Stone. Justin Charles Stonerook. Nicholas Michael Strohmeyer. Joshua Buchanan Strum. Richard Cobb Suker III. Trevaniel James Temple. Elizabeth Jane Thompson. Anna Marie Timmerman. Consuelo Valenzuela Lickstein. Matthew Wayne Van Hoevelen. Elizabeth Ann Wobble. Alina Matias Vasquez. William Frederick Viner. Courtney Elizabeth Borwald. Justin Michael Borwald. Andrew Joseph Ward. Janae Clarissa Weaver. Jason Philip Weiland. Andrew Nicholas Wendling. David Brian West. James Williams. David Edward Winkler. Ryan Adam Winters. Adam Clifford Witoski. Lauren Ann Wolf. Yen Yen. Jiajing Zhu. Mary Biswas. Karina Oxman. Amita Singh. Marissa Catherine Trites. Jinyi Zen. Jonathan Michael Stensvog.
Let's recognize the graduates. Thank you all. And the class of 2010 is terrific, and I'm very glad to see you joining the legal and other professions as you leave from the law school. And finally, I'm winding up as dean, and you'll be my last class that I say goodbye to. Although I'll be back as a faculty member. And what I want to express to you is that as someone who graduated from Iowa as an undergrad in '76 and in 1979 as a law student, and I had many of these people on the stage as my professors, Iowa Law School stays as a part of who you are. And even though you may not come back here often, I hope you do, you will always have a network and a community, primarily of your classmates, but also of other Iowa Law School graduates. And I want to share some words from Eudora Welty, her book, The Eye of the Story, which is about writing. She says that a sense of place absorbs our earliest notice and attention. It bestows on us our original awareness, and our critical powers spring up from the study of it and the growth of experience inside of it. It never really stops informing us. It is forever astir, alive, changing, reflecting, like the mind of man itself. One place comprehended can make us understand other places better. A sense of place gives equilibrium. Extended, it is a sense of direction too. Carried off we might be in spirit, and should be, when we are reading or writing something good, but it is a sense of place going with us still that is the ball of golden thread to carry us there and back, and in every sense of the word to bring us home. I hope the College of Law will always be to you that ball of golden thread that carries through your professional careers and through your personal lives. It's been a joy to be your dean, and please keep in touch with the law school. We're very proud of you and wish you the very best of luck. Congratulations.